Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review. I am David Allen, or if you'd like, Super Dave. We are here again to talk about another wonderful classified figure, number 117, and that is the Techno Viper, one of my coolest, favorite all-time troop builders from the 80s. Let me say good morning to everybody in the chat. Good morning, Michael Jean Fleming. Thanks for joining us today. We got a really fun one that I like a lot, Techno Viper, to talk about. So let's get into it. First, we're going to go to, of course, Dan Klingsmith's series of books again, Creating G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, Volume 5. The Techno Viper was in that one. Let's see if we can find him in here. Here he is. So that's a beautiful piece of artwork, I've got to say. I'm trying to see who's the artist on that. That might be Mark Pennington that did the art on that. Yeah, it is by Mark Pennington. And then on the other page, you can kind of see some of the design iterations and ideations and stuff like that on that side over there. There's a lot of stuff with his weapons and his gear because he comes with so much cool gear. He's a repair type Cobra that fixes machines and fixes their technology and stuff like that. Obviously, with the name Techno Viper. Let's see. Alternate names. An A, year release 1987, designed by Mark Pennington. Let's see. As one of his earliest designs, Mark created the Techno Viper to be a battlefield technician that could handle Cobra's unique arsenal of machinery and equipment. To allow the character to carry an array of tools, Mark purposely designed his backpack to have the functionality of holding several items. So that is the backpack. Some of those designs over there on that page there, you can kind of see those different ideations on there. So let's move on to his vintage package. So Techno Viper's vintage package is a really nice package, I must say. It looks very cool. And it's one of those figures that like jumped off the pegs for me when I was young, because I kind of like purple. I thought, wow, look at this guy. What does he do? He's a Cobra guy. Man, he looks interesting. And so I was in love with him since I was young as a Cobra troop builder. And then he made his first appearance in G.I. Joe Real American Hero by Larry Hama with issue 63. The Techno Vipers appeared. I'm trying to think. I don't believe the Techno Vipers appeared in Sunbow. They may have been like maybe in a background shot or something during the Deke era of animation, but that is the only animation that I'm aware of that they appeared in. I don't think they appeared anywhere else. And of course, I was talking about Quick Kick yesterday. He appeared in the Mass Device miniseries, the second miniseries. No, the Weather Dominator. Sorry, the Weather Dominator miniseries, the second one. Or maybe it was the Pyramids of Darkness. I can't remember. I think Quick Kick appeared in the Pyramids of Darkness miniseries because it was when Alpine and Bazooka got lost, and they needed his help, and he helped them. So I think it was the Pyramids of Darkness that Quick Kick first appeared. But let's get into his vintage figure, Techno Viper. There he is. I don't have all of his gear apparently. He's one of my favorites, but I do not have all his vintage gear, and he's in pretty rough shape. His tampo's rubbing off there, and he's a little loose there as well. But I do have his big laser gun. I do have his laser gun, so I should get a better version of him. I think. I'll have to look into that. Let's see. Oh, I just. Oh boy. I'm not having very good luck with this guy. There. Let's see if we can get his. We have his laser gun in there. And there you go. Techno Viper. Terrence Childs, thanks for joining the chat this morning. All of those are wonderful, many series, and I can't wait to see them. I used to have 2 of them on DVD. Oh, the animated series? They're very easy to get nowadays. They're on 2 or 3 different streaming things. They're also on Hasbro Pulse's YouTube channel. You can buy a good, nice box set of all the animation through Walmart. That's pretty cheap as well. So if you're after all the Sunbow animated stuff, you can get a lot of that easily. You have action figures, not a model. Yeah, these are all action figures, Terrence Child. Every one of these is an action figure of the vintage figures. So there you go. There's your Techno Viper. I'm going to put him back in his little package. We're doing a comparison and contrasting of the vintage G.I. Joe line with the classified line of the modern day, and going over the history of the vintage ones, and also going over a little bit of the history of the classified one, and comparing it and contrasting it, and then kind of looking at a little bit of a deep dive into the character and so on and so forth. With every episode, we do that with every character, Terrence Childs. So I brought out the previous Techno Viper that was with the HMS device, where he was also part of the 788 fire team. So we can compare the new Techno Viper from Classified 117. Again, we are doing these classified reviews from 00 Snake Eyes all the ways up. We've now gotten up to 117 items. We've also done 16 vintage package, and we've also done 160th anniversary and legacy figure so far. Well, I took him out of here and I forgot to go over all his package. All right, so there's a cool Techno Viper cool package. Really jumps off that artwork with that artwork there. And then we have the QR code to nowhere and the target artwork. And then we have the designations, and let's see what his designations has to say. So we have the wrench with the screwdriver, so that is mechanical engineering. Then we have the mace, which is the ball and chain mace, and that is melee weapons. And then we have that canister there with explosives, and then we have the chess piece, which I don't have on here, so I have to look at my other listings. So thanks to Michael Gene Fleming, I have the other listings on my phone that I could check out. Let's see. I can find it. We'll find out what that chess piece, because a lot of times those chess pieces are very difficult to find. Let's see. All right. The chest piece is Siegecraft. That's what that is. The chess piece is Siegecraft. And so there you go. Um, and so those are your designations for the Techno Viper. And then we have, well, we had uh, his layout of all of his accessories and stuff like that there. With that artwork on the front. And then on the back, we have the Techno Viper photography artwork by Shooting the Galaxy. And then we have a couple call outs from his equipment. I like this backpack, this artwork. It looks really cool. Like he's like in a futuristic city. Like it's like some sort of a what's that movie with Harrison Ford in the 80s? I'm trying to think of like the background there. Could be maybe in Japan, or maybe in the background of one of those futuristic movies. What was that movie that Harrison Ford was in the early 80s? Whereas in the future, I cannot remember the name of it off the top of my head. But that's what it kind of looks like. And of course, he's got his Techno computer there and a wrench and stuff. There's a tank back there. I don't know what tank that is. I can't really tell what kind of tank it is. Um, but that's all I can see in the background there. So that's pretty cool. So we'll put that down there. And we will get into his figure, this figure. So obviously he's got the purple deco, which I'm very happy with, because I love this purple deco. I don't know, purple is a fun color. It's a color that you can use for a lot of different things. So I'm very surprised that they used it for this Techno Viper. But he looks really, really nice. Very vintage inspired, I've got to say. Very, very vintage inspired. The purple is a little bit more subdued on the classified than the vintage Techno Viper. It was a little brighter, and there was a bit of a color separation on his armor parts from his clothing parts, his I guess uniform. So they changed that, and they made the uniform part mostly subdued purple, and then they made the armor more like black and dark purple. So there is a bit of a difference there in the color deco from the vintage to the classified. The helmet looks very, very similar to that one, except there's a lot more deco in that helmet. There's some green eyes and silver and black and stuff like that. I also love these shoulder pauldrons. There's all kinds of detail and stuff in those that are really, really nice as well. And of course, like the previous fire team one, he has the those little Techno scanner type things on his right and left arms, both with some little deco in there, computer deco, and little spots to put stuff on there. I like all the silver deco hits that they did with the tubes, the Cobra logo, and his mask. All little teeny deco hits all over the figure with silver. Um, his articulation is very similar to most of the figures. He's got the ab crunch there, obviously. He's got the double pinned elbows and knees. He also has the butterflied shoulders. He's got the the foot rockers. He's got the new articulated head with that little silver up there on the top. He's got the thigh and calf articulation, the wrist articulation. He's got the secondary wrist one that has the swivel on it. And these little computer things also move around as well. He's got the sheath on his left leg there. Um, he's also got the crotch and the leg articulation there to finish off his articulation points on this figure there, with that ab crunch along with it. So there's a lot of interesting little details about this. You have to look very carefully because there's all kinds of little technical type stuff on his armor, all over his armor and on his chest plate there. There's some technical stuff. And so it looks really good. He looks really, really interesting. I would say he's a bit of a step up from his vintage one. Even though I love the vintage one, there was a lot more silver deco in the vintage one. Let's see. Morning, Sean Jones. Thanks for joining us again. Yay! Start the week off with you as well. Thank you very much. I like hanging out with you guys and talking. Hope you all had a good weekend. Hope you all had a good holiday last week. It was nice. Hope you took advantage of some of the cool deals that are out there right now. Big Bad Toy Store, Hasbro Pulse, Entertainment Earth, Amazon, Walmart, Target. There's lots of sales. So if you want to collect some of these classified and get some of the ones you missed, you may have a good opportunity. Apparently, the vintage package ones are doing really cheap deals and stuff like that, from what I understand. Now, he's a little bit wobbly. This one's a little bit wobbly. The waist is a little bit loose, which I'm not too thrilled up about that, because I don't like it when I get the wobbly waists. But it's sometimes it's the manufacturing and stuff like that. I don't always blame Hasbro. It's the manufacturing if it's an earlier release or a later release coming from the factory. But we'll leave it for now. He has the secondary belt with all these cool pouches, stuff like that leads to his holster. He also has that tube that goes around the back as well, and it connects there. So this is a really good figure overall. There's a lot of layering and detail and little hints of deco here and there if you pay attention to it. Really good. So let's get some of his accessories out. So we got that little computer thing. Now, we weren't sure what color it was when I looked at it, when I was trying to check it with the Fire Team one. But the Fire Team one is orange, and this one is definitely red. So there is a difference with those computers. They did deco it differently. So that goes there in that little hole there. And it's like a computer readout, so he could look at something and check it out, the schematics of it and stuff like that. So there, that kind of goes like that, similar to the other one. Let's get his backpack, because his backpack's really nice. I like this backpack. I liked it when I had the Fire Team one, because they had all the different deco hits on there. And the same with this one. But the difference is this one has red and black, and this one's purple and black. And there's a little silver with that vent there, because this is technology. So he's got that little silver vent on there that matches some of the other deco that he has on his uniform. So we're going to put that in there. There. All right. So then we have his tube. So we're going to get his tube out, which his tube is the same as the previous version, the Fire 788 Fire Team silver with black little tips. And then he's got his big laser gun. Now, see, this is where I think they kind of lost a little bit of opportunity, because in the early figures, the first 8 or so figures, there was a lot of lasers and blue and a lot of little decos they could have added, I think, to this. This would have been the perfect gun to add that stuff to it, but they didn't. And I'm kind of a little bit disappointed. And they did the same thing with the fire team one. I was not happy with that one either, because I thought they missed an opportunity on that accessory to do something that they had already did with other characters in the early part of the line, and it would have made sense with this character. And that's just my feeling on it. I would have liked to have had that. So let's see, we're going to connect this tube. Now he's got 2 different tanks you can connect it to. So I'm going to put it there on this one, because I have it in the same place on the fire team 788 fire team one as well. I'm going to try to put his arm back a little bit to make room for that. There. So there you go. That's him with his laser and him with his little computer readout thing. And then he has this pistol, this little sci-fi looking pistol he comes with. Same pistol he came with the fire team one, but there's a lot of really nice detail again on these weapons with Techno Viper. They look really nice. And we'll put that into his holster on his left leg. There. Then we have his tools. So he's got 3 different tools. Excuse the noise. 1, 2. And these tools are pretty gummy, I must say. So they have not fixed the gumminess. In certain aspects of these figures, I think the gumminess is helpful. With the accessories on the Techno Viper, I think they might be a little bit helpful. Oops, I lost his little computer. Damn it. Ugh. I lost his computer. His little computer thing fell out. So we'll have to get that later. That's always the thing about these videos. I always drop something. So he's got this little hammer. A lot of really cool detail in these accessories. They are gummy, like I said. They are gummy. But there's a lot of really good details in there. So I'm going to put all of them on his backpack. His backpack has a little spot, which I like a lot, that carries all the accessories on it, which I think is really cool. Then we have a little bitty wrench with some really cool detail again. Put that in there. Yeah. And then we have another little wrench there. So I have all of his accessories on his back there. I'm going to lay him down there. I'm going to see if I can get that computer. Give me a second while I try to pick up that computer. There it is. I got it. Let's see if I can put this in there a little bit more solid. All right, so I have his computer on. I got his head kind of cocked so he can look at his computer there. There. And then that. There you go. And let me get a stand for him, and then he will be all done. Um, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it's maybe the accessories and maybe the color deco and maybe the design aesthetics of the Techno Viper that really makes it stand out. But I'm a little biased on this figure because I do like the vintage one so much. So I'm a little bit more forgiving on certain things when it comes to things that I like, I guess. So I'm a little bit biased on that. But overall, I still think it looks fantastic. I think it looks fantastic. I think it's a wonderful addition to Classified. Um, I'm not sure if they would do a third Techno Viper using some of this gear and some of this. Maybe we get a vintage package version of him, but I think they're both very good variations on this figure. I like the Fire Team one, and I like this regular one, the vintage inspired one, um, with all the little extra details and call outs and improvements and stuff like that. Other than the wobbliness of the manufacturing situation, which that happens from time to time, there's not much you can do about it. I think they they really hit this one out of the park. It's an excellent update to the Techno Viper, in my opinion. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinions, uh, but there's a lot of little details. So that computer screen can go on both sides of those little wrist computers. It it pops into either side, and also on the gloves there's some technical stuff with some purple deco, and on the other one it's red deco on his gloves as well. So there's a lot of little details. He's got knee pads that are decoed with a little black and stuff like that. I like the longer boots, those weird like rubbery boots that you see people wear that are in like science buildings and stuff like that. Woody, good morning. Sup, homeboys? Thanks for joining us. Um, discussing Techno Viper today. One of my favorite troop builders. The accessory is a little wibbly with this one, which is okay because that gives a little bit more give for the backpack and putting it in there and stuff like that. So if it was a solid thing like his gun, I would not want his gun to be that wibbly. But the accessory parts that go in the backpack, I'm all right with that. Um, Again, I think he looks really good. I think they did a pretty decent job with this one. What do you guys think? You guys like Techno Viper? You think the classified Techno Viper is a good interpretation of the vintage Techno Viper? There's a lot of differences with his costume, obviously. Always loved the OG figure. Yeah, me too. He's one of my favorites. Um, so there you go. There's your Techno Viper. So our next video is going to be a 90s Cobra character that is going to be a really weird one. Um, that I don't particularly care for this character that much, and I don't care for the interpretation that was given to this next character. But we can get into that when we get to the next character, and it'll be 118, and it'll be a deluxe figure, so there will be a lot of gear and stuff to get into with it. But he is a 90s character, so we're starting to get into some of those 90s inspired characters from that era. And I have a friend that's really big into the 90s type stuff, and he loves all that. And there are definitely a lot of really cool things that came out in the 90s era of A Real American Hero, the vintage line. um, the one area that I'm a little bit worried about is like from about, I would say, 87 to 89, we don't have a lot. There's a couple in each year, Obviously, there's Tiger Force, there's Python Patrol, there's Night Force, but original characters like the Techno Viper, he was an 87 character, right? But there's not a lot of characters in those years. And I'm getting a little bit 90s, 90s. Michael Gene Fleming. Bang, bang. That's right, Woody. You got it. How are you? How are you, Woody? Talking in the chat. So I really think the Hasbro team. I maybe because it's harder to get a lot of those characters. I think there's some characters that are obvious and easy to do. Like I've mentioned it many times. Hardball. We have every single part to make a hardball figure. Why haven't we got a hardball figure? I think a muskrat would be pretty easy. I think a repeater would be pretty easy, but that's just me. But a lot of the Cobra characters, I think in those times, from 87 to 89 and beyond, are harder to do. Like the Crimson Guard, there's a lot of Crimson Guard characters in those years. And there's also Crimson Guard in the 2000s, a lot of different ones. So I'm guessing that 2026 next year, we're going to be getting a lot of Crimson Guards. That's just my gut feeling. I could be completely wrong on that. But I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of Crimson Guards. But they've been parsing out the later years just a little bit at a time because obviously they have a lot more things that they would have to mold and create from scratch because a lot of that stuff is brand new sculpting and stuff like that. So I can see why they've taken so long. Undertow, it's weird how they let up on the Iron Grenadiers theme. Hopefully they bring it back next year. Woody, yeah, it would be cool because I do like the Iron Grenadiers. A lot of their troop builders are some really, really cool troop builders. I've got to say, like the incinerators, the targets, a lot of those Voltar. We do have a handful. Obviously, we got the Iron Grenadier Trooper. We've got Dark Lawn. We're gonna have this character that we're gonna review next, the deluxe one. You're already at work. You guys like listening to me at work. I must be pretty entertaining. So yeah, I think some of the Iron Grenadiers will be getting. Undertow, I don't think is a difficult one to do, so I can see them doing him. But we have another Cobra diver, I can never remember his name. It's not the Hydra Viper, is it? No. It's the one with the stingray. Who's the guy with the stingray? IG's your favorite faction? They're really a good faction. I agree with you. Hydra Viper. It is the Hydra Viper. Okay. I thought it was. I wasn't sure, Michael Gene Fleming, but I sometimes second guess myself. And this is really funny. The smooth, sultry sounds of Super Dave in the morning. Uh, in my Woody, you are so funny. Oh man, you make me laugh. I do have a more kind of I wouldn't say leathery, but more of uh, a sooth sounding voice, but not leathery, right? But yeah, if I was like a singer, I could be like a old like jazz singer. Uh, oh man, you're funny. Yeah, the Hydra Viper had the stingray, right? Um, so yeah, so the 90s, the late 90s, we are really lacking on a lot of figures. I think we're gonna have a problem with the late 90s because there's a lot of vehicle drivers, and we're not gonna get all those vehicles. I'd be willing to bet pretty good amount that we're not going to get a lot of those vehicles. So a lot of those vehicle drivers, how are you going to get all those Iron Grenadier vehicle drivers? So that's going to be a tricky one, unless they do them like a 2-pack with a bunch of gear and things like that, or maybe they re-release the HMS, MMS, or maybe they do some of the like weapon systems, like the drones or the HAL or the flak, and they put one of them with each of those. I don't know how we're going to get all those vehicle drivers. There's just too many. Um, I know we'll get Destro, obviously. There's no doubt in my mind. I think we're going to get more inspired troop builder of Iron Grenadier as well. I think we could easily get Undertow. He's not that complicated, but we just, like I said, we just got a water character with the Hydra Viper coming. And but a lot of those other guys, there's a lot of new molding and sculpting to get a lot of those guys. Yeah, there you go. See, Woody, you're right on target with this. Razorback and Nullifier 2-pack. That makes sense, right? Um, but that's the tricky thing. So a lot of that stuff, there is a lot of reuse in those years, 87, 88, 89. There's a lot of reuse. Obviously, all the Sky Patrol was reused, just with different heads. All the Tiger Force, all the Python, all the Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders, all the Night Force, all reuse. So if we get it, a lot of those late 80s things, it would be probably some of that reuse as well. Like, I thought we were going to get an Outback Night Force figure a lot sooner than we have. We haven't gotten it yet, but I can imagine we're going to be getting that soon. They'll probably start getting some of those reuse characters out as soon as we either get the figure like Repeater or Muskrat or I can't think of the other guy. The guy that's all yellow, has a little green, he has like a red computer thing. I can't think of his name, but he's also a Night Force. And so I think some of those Night Force characters we might get, and then we can get some reuse on them. Some more Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders as well. There's a couple that are left for the vintage Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders, like Mutton Junkyard. So there's some ways to get some of that late 80s type figures, but I'm guessing the Lightfoot. That's it, Woody. Thank you, Lightfoot. So I think we could probably get Lightfoot. I can see them reusing a lot of Techno Viper for Lightfoot. Maybe you wouldn't use the Cobra Sigil, but a lot of this gear I can see them using for Lightfoot. Just deco it in his colors with yellow and green and stuff like that. So I think you could get a Lightfoot fairly easy. That's my opinion. But yeah, you know, we're getting into the point now where some of those characters are going to be harder to get. So they're going to have to parse out those characters with the new molds and new accessories and things like that over the years. So we'll get maybe 188, 189, 187 here and there, and then we'll get some 90s stuff. But if they don't start hitting some of these years, they're almost out of 82 to 86. They're completely they're down to about 15 figures, and most of those are vehicle drivers and redecos. There's only like a couple of vehicle drivers that are main vehicle drivers that we need, and then one actual original figure, and that's mainframe, not mainframe. I'm having a hard time trying to remember these characters' names. I don't know. He was all yellow and he hung out with Barbecue a lot. Or he hung out with, yeah, Blowtorch and Barbecue. I, I can't I can't think of a name. He was an environmental specialist. What the heck is his name? It's the only single figure that we haven't gotten for those years that's not a vehicle driver, not a redeco. Airtight. God, I don't know why I couldn't think of that, Michael Gene Fleming. My mind is really bad today. I don't know. Airtight is the only one from that time frame that we haven't gotten. Yes, Woody, Airtight. For the main line, we have, like I said, we're very close to finishing those off, with the exception of vehicle drivers, redecos, and then Airtight. And we've got two more OG13s, Flash and Short Fuse, and then OG13 is done. And then after that, we got characters like Deep Six, Cutter, Thunder, uh, Keelhaul, Lift Ticket, the Stun Driver, the Raven Driver, the Firebat from the Terradrome, those type of guys. A lot of troop builders, redecos, and Dave's on edibles. What is edibles? Like uh vitamins or something like that? No, I'm not on edibles. I don't do anything like that. Nope. Sorry. Sorry, Woody, on that one. No edibles. Um so yeah, so it's gonna be interesting how this line starts getting things released over the next year. I'm curious to see what this year is going to look like at the end of 2026, because it's going to be a crapshoot as to what we're going to get based on the 8 figures that we've already pre-ordered and the 11 name onlys that we have available. Let's see. Let's look at all these. I know you're kidding. I was just joking as well, Woody. Um, let's see. We know we're getting the Molrats version 2. That's a brand new troop builder, obviously. We're getting the Night Viper. That's an 87, I believe, right? We're getting the Hydra Viper. That's an 88, I believe. We're getting Big Lot. That's a movie character. First time for that character in Classified, and one of the very few releases of that character. And then Mainframe. That's an 86 character. So very eclectic with that batch. Then we get in Crazy Legs, another 87 character redeco that we already got the Night Force. Female Crimson Guard, brand new version of a Crimson Guard. And then we have Zap, an OG13, another eclectic 3 figures. So those are 8 figures that we know we've already pre-ordered, we're getting. So then we got the HasLab, we're getting Frostbite, Vehicle Driver, and redeco of Flint Lady J and Arctic gear, right? Then we got some name onlys, Taurus and Red Dog. They're part of the Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders set of figures. Then we've got the Hydra Viper that's coming. Then we have, that's an 88 character. Then we have Iceberg. That's an 86 character that we have. Then we have Zartan, a ninja force Zartan from the 90s. And then we have Zanya, a 2000s Dreadnought character. So all of those are very eclectic, mixed characters that we're getting. Zanya, yep, Zartan's daughter. So none of that stuff is similar all the same year. You got a couple 86s, you got a couple 87s, you got an 88, and then everything else is mix and match all over the place. I think they usually put out about 66 figures a year. 66 figures a year. That is a lot of figures. I guess you include the vehicle drivers, the HasLab characters, the accessories with figures, 2-packs, figure and pets, deluxe figures. It could be. I was thinking about 40. Maybe I'm underestimating that, including everything. Yes, that's going to be an interesting point. I'm going to be doing my best of 2025 in a few weeks when we get past Christmas. So that's going to be interesting for me to count all the stuff that's come out this year and see what the best thing is. But yeah, I agree with you, Woody. It's a lot. 66 figures, not 66 releases. Yeah, that makes sense to me, Woody. Because obviously you're buying like dozens of each of these things. I don't know where you're finding the space to put all this stuff when you're buying 40 troop builders and 60 of other things. I just don't know where you're finding the place to put this, unless you have a store and you're selling this stuff through your store or something like that. I don't know, Woody, where you're getting the space or the room to put all this stuff. If you had a toy store or comic store, I can see where you would use some of that for people to buy at your store. Um, your basement is 1,600 square feet. Oh my God, that's incredible. That's like two-thirds of the size of my house. My house is only 2,300 and change square feet. And so, not including my garage. If you include my garage that I turned into this theater and some storage space, yeah, I guess it would be a little bit more. But wow, that's a lot of space. But you're in the New England area, so houses were built with cellars and attics. Where in Florida, we don't get a lot of attics and cellars. So there you go. So just based on all those things that we know is coming and what to expect, I can imagine that next year is going to be really, really all over the place. I'm lucky to have a basement. You're very lucky to have a basement, Woody. Ah, okay. That's fine. I'm gonna have to build a storage space in my backyard because I'm getting to a point where I'm just too overloaded right now. I'm gonna have to like take a lot of stuff out of my house to put into that storage area and clear out some of my different parts of my house so I can make room for more toys that I don't want to get damaged. What's one figure that you're looking forward to the most next year, named or unnamed? Well, I know it hasn't been named officially, but it's been named by Lenny on several interviews over the last 6 or 8 months when he's talked about did interviews at San Diego Comic Con, New York Comic Con, different places, was Cesspool. That's the number one character that I want next. He's on my top 10. You guys have seen my top 10 favorite characters, favorite Joes, favorite Cobras, and he's on all those lists. Sean Jones, his wife still loves him. Well, that's a good thing, Sean Jones, because if you don't have a spouse that puts up with this and loves you, then you're gonna be in pretty bad trouble. Hey, Dave. Hi to the chat. Universal toy collector. Hello. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Uh, hello, Sean. Barely. Oh man. Yo, Universal, talking in the chat. Um, yeah, Woody 222. Um, talking in the chat. So yeah, you need to have a spouse that's going to put up with this stuff, and it helps if your spouse is a collector of some things in her own right or their own right, and they can understand it a little bit better, and they can go shopping for you. They can find things at Christmas and your birthday. That compatibility with your spouse or your significant other or what have you, or partner, is very important in collecting in our world. I am very blessed that my partner and my spouse is exceptionally very forgiving about a lot of this stuff and helps me quite a lot with this. I'm very, very thankful and prayed that I found that person, that individual. 21 years we've been together. A little personal information there. So thank God. Tell them you love them every single day. Give them a hug, kisses, whatever you need to do. just thank them, because it's very important to have that partnership with this collecting world that we live in. I don't do a lot of other things. I do collect toys and comics and this sort of stuff, and watch movies and TV and cartoons and things. Um, and I get autographs as well. But I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't gamble. I don't do any substances or anything like that. This is my fix, as it were, toy crack, as it were. That phrase has been coined by uh, Justice Curry. Um, Nice. I've been married for 21 years. So you and I have the same time frame for our marriages. Woody, both got married in around the 80 2004 time frame. So that's great. I'm glad. Um, so we kind of got off on a tangent, but so next year, I'm really expecting this line to be all over the place. They're going to be touching on all these things that I already explained with this line. I'm just worried about vehicle drivers. We have got a few vehicle drivers, obviously. We got Steeler, we got Cover Girl, we got Copperhead, we got Dark Lawn. And so we have got some vehicle drivers. So I think we could get some other vehicle drivers, characters like Thunder, I think is a character that you could get as a single figure. Some that maybe the Cobra Iron Grenadiers could be released as two packs, like Woody said. Um, but I would like to go back and do some vintage package vehicles. I think you can get some of these characters again, like Cover Girl, like Copperhead, and characters with their vehicles and vintage package. It might be a little pricey, I don't know, but I would like to get a water moccasin. Maybe not a Wolverine unless we add that turret to a HasLab tank campaign. Maybe that's how you can get another Cover Girl. Um, but I really want a water moccasin. I like the water moccasin. I think it's a nice vehicle, a classified scale version with a bunch of bells and whistles and moving propellers and turrets and things like that. And you can get a couple of figures in there. I really like it. I think it would work with Dreadnought, would work with Copperhead and Crocmaster. I really would like a water moccasin. That's just me. Um, I'm a single handsome guy that collects G.I. Joe toys. Oh, yeah, Sean Jones? Well, if there's any ladies in the chat, Sean Jones is a eligible bachelor. I think you should guys meet and talk after the fact, share each other's messenger and talk. I don't know if I have any females in here because everybody uses like their handles. I'm the only one that says my name, David T. Allen. So, and I'm already taken. So if there's any females in this chat, talk to Sean Jones. I'm sure he's a very nice guy. He seems like a nice guy in the chat. This is the dating game. We've started the GI Joe dating game on this episode. Oh man, you guys are hilarious. This is what I love about this. All kinds of crazy stuff that comes up in these episodes. Oh man, I love it. But that's an interesting thing, Sean Jones. I met my spouse at a comic convention in 2004, MegaCon in Florida. That's where I met my spouse and found out they're a comic collector and toy collector like me. Plus, they like other things, and a lot of the things we like are similar. So I think that's what you should do. Go to comic conventions, talk to the ladies at comic conventions. MegaCon used to do a dating night. They would have everybody go to the dating night, and you could talk to all the singles, women and men in there. I found it really funny. A friend of mine did it. He met girls at those dating nights at Dragon Con, at MegaCon, at Heroes Con. And so he met girls doing that. And he met girlfriends that way. So go to your local conventions, Sean Jones, wherever you are. I'm sure there are local sci-fi conventions you can go to and Just say hi to as many women as you can possibly say hello to. And you never know. Somebody might say hello back and smile at you and start up a conversation. That's what I did. I was in a line for an artist, and it just happens we're in the same line for this artist, and we're doing different things in this line for this artist. But we get chatting. My partner was in front of me, and I was behind him, and we started chatting, and that's how we got together. Not on Vancouver Island. There's no conventions on Vancouver Island. You're in Canada. I forgot. There's a fan expo in Toronto. Can you get to Toronto via Vancouver very easily, or would you have to fly? And then there's also fan expo uh, Anna, Anaheim. No, it's Fan Expo. There's two Fan Expos in Canada, Toronto and another one in the middle, above Chicago, wherever that is. I can't remember that area up there above the Chicago area in Canada. But there's another Fan Expo up that way. So you got two Fan Expos, and then there's some GI Joe shows as well. Uh, Seattle. So you're above Seattle. Okay, so you're over that way. Hmm. Well, you can go to Emerald City Comic Con in Washington, Seattle, Washington. Um, well, there you go. Seattle. Go to Emerald City. That's a very large convention. That's as large as MegaCon. I'm surprised Vancouver doesn't have more with all the filming and all the stuff that they do there. Where are all those actors going their downtime? Someone should start a convention up in Vancouver. Maybe you should start one and get all those actors from all those TV shows that are filming up there. That seems like an easy way to get a lot of actors. That's why Dragon Con does so well here in Atlanta, in the Atlanta area, because there's a lot of filming and a lot of the actors go to Dragon Con. Uh, you'll check it out. Cool, Sean Jones. I'm sure you'll find some wonderful uh, fan nerd ladies and girls and women at Seattle, Emerald City. All right, dating game is over. So, what things do you guys think we'll get? I already answered my question for cesspool. I would love to get cesspool, and I think we will next year get a cesspool. I think we're going to get stuff like IG Destro. I think we're going to get Globulus. Um, I think we're going to finish off the OG 13, so we'll get Flash and um, Grand Slam. But what else do you guys think we'll get? It's going to be interesting. Uh, but I think it's going to be all over the map next year and um, 27 as well. Both of those years, I think, are going to be all over the map. Uh, you think we'll get a Triple T with Sergeant Slaughter? Uh, like $100 scale vehicle from another Triple T or another Sergeant Slaughter figure? Sean Jones, I think you're right. We've been getting a Sergeant Slaughter for the last 3 years. You think 125 for the Triple T? I don't know about that. I don't think it's that big that they would go that high on it. I think the $100 is fine. The Oz Striker, the Vamp, the Stinger scale. I think it's good enough. It's a little taller, but it's a lot shorter and a little bulkier that way. So I think we could get it. The Night Force Outback driver. Yeah, you never know. We could get a Triple T as Outback, a Night Force with an Outback driver. That's a possibility. I think you could definitely get a reuse out of the Triple T that way. But yeah, I think we probably will get a few more reuses for obviously Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders, Night Force. We'll probably get maybe some Eco Warriors next year. I would love to get a septic tank. If we're going to get cesspool, we have to have the septic tank. There's no doubt in my mind we have to have that. Would they do them separately? Would they put cesspool with the septic tank? I hope not. I hope they would get the septic tank a different driver. maybe a Toxo Viper or something they would include with him. With that, I don't know. But I hope we would get a cesspool as a deluxe figure by himself. And the fact that Lenny's mentioned him a couple times, I think it would be really cool. I think it's Airtight's year. I think 2026 is Airtight's year. And I think we're going to get more Eco Warriors to battle those Mole Rats Stage 2, and the possibility they mentioned Mole Rats Stage 3 and 4 at New York Comic Con, Lenny did in the future. So I think the Eco Warriors year has come, and that's where you're going to get the septic tank, you're going to get cesspool, you're going to get airtight, and we're going to do some zombies, stage 3 and 4, mole rats. That's my gut feeling, and I would love all that. And I know Michael Sheen Fleming would love all that too, because he's with me when it comes to Eco Warriors and the 90s stuff. But I think our HasLab is probably going to be the Mare, and then we will get more water stuff. I think we're going to get more Arctic stuff to go along with Iceberg. I think we'll get that vehicle with the Battle Polar Bear with a figure. And I think we will finally get the Fang helicopter next year as well. So those are both very light, low hanging fruit when it comes to vehicles. So I think that's some new vehicles we could get. Triple T, the Fang, the Battle Polar Bear, the Moray, some reuse on some of this stuff. Striker could get the Eco Striker. So there is a lot of reuse I think we will get next year. And then some cool new characters will be peppered in there. Now that we're doing 5-figure waves, I'm wondering if we do 5-figure waves 4 times a year every quarter. So that's 5, 10, 20. And then 4 waves of vintage package figures every quarter as well. So that's 8 figures every quarter. So that's 8 times 4. That's 32 figures just in vintage and in mainline, right? Not including figure and pet, not including two packs, not including exclusive, not including deluxe, not including with vehicles, not including HasLabs. So that 66 is very likely that Woody said earlier. Sorry, I had to go on the boat real quick. Oh, okay. You're on a boat, Woody? Your job is on a boat? That's kind of cool. Um, so what do you guys think? What do you think we'll get? What do you think is obvious? What do you think is like pie in the sky? It's like we'll probably not get it, but I think next year is going to be a really eclectic year. What faction do you think they're going to go into? Do you think Eco Warriors is the 2026 year for that? I think it is. I really do. I think they've been hinting at it for a while. The fact that we're going to get Globulus and the Royal Guard, and then the Morat Stage 2, we're right there at that. With everything that I've heard them saying, I think Eco Warriors is finally here. And that's a lot of 90s. So we could get a lot of reuse of characters like Flint and Barbecue and Deep Six that way as well. Would we get Deep Six version 2 and 3 before we get Deep Six version 1? Interesting, right? Shark, that's another vehicle. Do you think we won't get Shark until 27 to go along with the Moray and more water vehicles? Or do you think we'll get it earlier? There's so much speculation. There's so much possibilities with this line. It's fun to really speculate and to think about all this stuff. But I think that's going to do it for this episode. I really appreciate you guys in the chat hanging in there with me as I rambled on about all this. I really love my Techno Viper 117. He's a really cool figure. Very, very happy with him overall. There's a couple of little things, obviously, with the wibbly body and the gummy accessories, but overall, it's all right. I would say in the 7 8 range, not perfect, but in the 7 8 range in for the top 10 scale. So I already mentioned who our next character is. That's coming. Gave you hints on that. What else do we have going on? Like I said, we got another comic burst episode coming up very shortly. Um, I'm trying to get some more interviews to talk to some cool people in the community on here to discuss this brand some more with them. And I think it's just going to be we're going to be doing that top 10 classified figures of the year video coming up. Uh, you're on a submarine, Woody. What are you in the Navy? My brother, my younger brother, was in the Navy, and he was a technical engineer on ships and submarines and stuff like that in the Navy. And then he went into the Coast Guard and was a technical engineer in the Coast Guard on weapons guidance systems and things like that. That is really cool. Submarines are really cool. I've always wanted to take a tour on a submarine, Woody. If I ever go up to Rhode Island, I'm gonna look you up. And oh, I forgot you're in. No, you're in. Yeah, Rhode Island, right, Woody? Um, Sean Jones is in Vancouver. It's hard to keep you guys straight. You build submarines? No wonder you make a lot of money. Wow, that's cool. What kind of job? What would you call yourself? An engineer? Uh, what would you call that? Technical engineer? Is the Techno Viper like what you would be if you were in Cobra? Woody? God, that's got to be a lot of money doing that. You're a welder. Sean Jones says you're a welder. Is that what you do, welding? Not you alone. Oh, okay. That's really cool, though. I think that's a really cool trade to have. Did you go to school to be a welder, or is that like a trade that you got from your father and you followed him and got work? You're a sheet metal machine welder. Oh, I knew a guy up in New Hampshire when I lived up in New Hampshire. Uh, that was a a sheet metal machinist as well. Um, Andre Lazar. He did that up in New Hampshire. A friend of mine that was a comic dealer that I dealt with. On the side, he did the welding, and then he had a comic store. Andre Lazar. They trained you. Oh, okay, cool. Wow, that's neat. I like that. Sorry. That's a cool job. Um, so yeah, we'll be doing our top 25. Maine has a shipyard too. Cool. That's really neat. A lot of the new technology and stuff they have to add into submarines and stuff like that, with all the sonar and all the updates of the different technology and stuff, has to be difficult to add all that stuff in there. But that's really good. You have to use blueprints and all that stuff. That's really neat. That's a cool job. I'm very happy for you that you have a cool job like that. Do you enjoy it? That's the key. As long as you enjoy your work, it's not work, right? You know. Um, if I could just talk about toys and deal with toys and comics every day, uh, I would be happy, because that's all I want to do. If I could get paid to do that, I would do it. And I might be very shortly changing careers, and I might do that. All right, so yeah, we're gonna do our top 25 or top 10 after Christmas, and so I look forward to that. That's gonna be a really fun one. We're very close to the 200 mark. You guys have been doing a great job in sharing out these videos. That's the number one thing at the moment you can do to help this channel grow, so we can get to that 200 mark and beyond. Share, like, and subscribe, hit the notification button, and help this channel grow. I'm not trying to go like crazy, like get millions of viewers and stuff like that. I want to be manageable. I don't mind being like 1,000 or something like that. That's manageable. I can talk to you guys. We can have a good time, and the chat won't go crazy on me, you know? Um, so that's where I would like to be. Nice, comfortable number, like a 1,000, somewhere around there. I don't see some of the electronic stuff. It's just highly classified. Ah, I see. I see. My brother was telling me the same thing with his weapons guidance systems and things like that. He would never tell me anything either. He said it was all classified. um, my dad was in a Marine detachment at Portsmouth back in the late 70s, early 80s. Oh, very cool, Michael Gene Fleming. Um, Obviously, Michael Gene Fleming's father must have been a really smart guy, because Michael Gene Fleming's a very smart guy. So I think you got some of those traits from your father, being in the Marines detachment there, Woody, Michael. But that's really cool. I'm glad you guys are doing interesting jobs. CB, Woody. Oh, that's awesome. So I think that's going to cover it. We have a lot of really cool um, new a lot of new stuff, not a lot of reuse coming up. A lot of really cool new characters coming up over the next few days that I look forward to talking to you guys about and reviewing with you guys. So I hope you tune in to that. I guess that's going to be it for this episode. And thank you guys again in the chat. Always wonderful, always interesting, engaging conversation. Thanks everybody after the fact. Again, you guys always chiming in. The replay crew, you're wonderful as well. Michael Gene Fleming. No, at least back then, the Marines were responsible for gate guard duty and guarding the reactors when they would take them out for complete overhauls. Oh, interesting. Great chatting, Dave. Thank you, Woody. It's always wonderful chatting with you. You have a good day at work. Don't work too hard. Hopefully you enjoy the job that you're doing. Michael Gene Fleming, thank you as always as well. Thank you, Sean Jones. Thank you, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful. So, Woody, now I think the Air Force watches the country's reactors. Oh, interesting. All right, so I'm gonna end this, guys. So thank you again, and we will see you in the next one. And this was a Cobra one, so hail Cobra! Techno Vipers rule.